You're listening to UCW Radio. In your face.
What we got here is a failure to communicate.
Oh, have I got your attention now?
Relax, Federer. It's good.
You know what I mean?
Money to be made in a place like this.
Money never sleeps, pal.
You're crazy. Don't run when you lose. Don't whine my head.
You know what it takes to sell real estate? It takes brass ball.
I'm falling, and I can't get up.
All right, welcome back to Money Never Sleeps. This is the show where we touch on everything and anything that impacts the flow of money from around the corner to around the world across all industries. Now, you can always listen to past episodes on ucwmagazine.com or on iTunes, Stitcher, and a multitude of other places. Now, what I want to do today is touch on the real estate market because, look, it's in such flux right now that we can't ignore it, and I don't want to ignore it on this show. The reality is this: stocks will always trade, and more stocks can be issued from a company, but in the end, the one thing that will never be reproduced is land. So I want to get into this a little bit. There's always a constant growth spurt somewhere in the world. It happens. But where new opportunities arise and a boom in the area begins, buildings go up, houses get built, shopping malls appear, and the people flock to the area if the area is offering job opportunities. And that's a given. Now, the trick is having the vision to see where that boom may take place. Now, for those that look carefully enough, it becomes pretty clear. Now, there are a few places in the world that real estate never tends to get old or stale, and it is always in demand. One particular place is New York City. I'm not talking about the outer boroughs. I'm not talking about upstate. I'm not talking about away from the 5 boroughs. I'm talking about New York City itself. And believe it or not, with all the congestion and the buildings butted up against each other, it's like the growth spurt continues to flourish. And we're seeing it a lot more often now than ever. And it's not only in Manhattan, but it's throughout the 5 boroughs. Again, if you look carefully, you will see the areas that are in play. And it's pretty interesting if you pay attention to it. Manhattan has seen a flock of developers swarm around Harlem, for a number of years. And for those that had vision, they benefited from the incentives that the state gave to them and the city gave to them to roll the dice and try to rejuvenate the area. Now, with the development boom in that area, it has reached a pinnacle. It has reached a point where now those incentives are all but gone. So all that the developers can do is hope to, create condos and do things of that nature up in that area. The Upper East and West Side, they're always in demand, but there are a few solid areas that are still in play, but at the beginning stages, and that's important. You want to get there before, not after. And I'm just going to reserve that information to share with my clients. The point is that opportunities are still there, and I have a pretty good handle on all those opportunities, but I'm going to reserve that for my clients, so I do apologize. Brooklyn had the same type of effect, and it all started with the waterfront properties, those closest to Manhattan. Williamsburg, Brooklyn, pick up any real estate paper, you'll read about it. They were targeted by developers early on, and that area was bad. I'm talking really, really, really bad, where you had to walk with your life in your hands from one block to the next. And this was just a stone's throw away from Manhattan, because it's literally one stop away from Manhattan on either of the trains there. So the area attracted hipster residents who couldn't afford the Lower East Side rates. Now, those original hipsters, they've been pushed out and replaced by those that are more affluent. and I call them the trusty hipsters. These are the hipsters that have money, and it's just an interesting development. But this is a process. There's no doubt it is a process in the area. As the area gets developed, there's going to be a big shift in the face of any neighborhood when you're dealing with gentrification, you're dealing with development. And this has spread to other areas of Brooklyn, such as Greenpoint, Red Hook, and other areas, other areas of Brooklyn, yet there's still more to come, much more to come. And it's just going to be an interesting, deal. One area of Queens that has had somewhat of that similar effect is Long Island City. And again, Long Island City, you're talking about a stop away from Manhattan. And the community board and the city, they were considering even changing the name to make it stand out and make it not seem like it was part of Long Island. But Queens at one point in time was part of Long Island, and they just don't. They want to kind of separate it and disassociate it with Long Island itself, which is going to be interesting. Let's see if it happens, because Queens sits on Long Island, as does Brooklyn, but neither of them are part of Long Island, if that makes any sense at all. Anyhow, the development of Long Island City is still taking shape, although many high-end condo and co-op buildings were erected over the years. It's still developing, because they're still trying to figure out what the angle for them to take is, and I think that they're going to wind up finding that pretty soon. The trick is, for that part of New York, that part of Queens, the trick is to attract more major businesses to come into the area. I know that the Chelsea Marketplace, they've purchased a building in Long Island City, and they're looking to bring companies over there, which is a smart move, especially with the rates that you have in Manhattan. Give them an alternative, a cheaper alternative to make things happen. So we'll see what happens there. Hopefully they can bring some businesses over there. And, this conversation brings us to commercial real estate. And, if you bring in businesses and they create jobs, it's going to bring in the people. And that's what it's all about. You have to be able to create jobs for people to be able to pay those rents or buy those condos, buy those homes, and live a better life. And if you're not creating the businesses, if you're knocking the commercial businesses out, it's going to be very difficult for the areas to flourish as they should flourish. Okay, and finally, the Bronx and Staten Island, they're kind of feeling their way around, but due to the distance from Manhattan, even a boat ride, you get on the ferry, you go from Staten Island to Manhattan. And if you're in the Bronx, actually, you can be a stop away from Upper Manhattan. And you have bridges that actually bring you into Manhattan, toll-free, just like you have downtown. And you can actually pretty, simply head to New Jersey from the Bronx. So that's the good part of that area. Staten Island, not so much, is so far away from everything, and it's only now that they're starting to go and develop the roadway where you reduce the congestion, because that's part of the problem with Staten Island. You have the congestion over there. You're driving around there, and it's bumper to bumper just from you going from your home to going shopping for food. Because you only have a couple of main roads there that everyone has to take to get to where where they need to go. Okay, but the distance, again, from Staten Island away from everything else, it doesn't come close to Brooklyn or Queens boom. Okay, even though you have developments going on in Staten Island, but I doubt it's ever gonna get to that point, and until they begin to develop the areas by the bridges going to New Jersey. But we'll see what happens. That's a work in progress. The Bronx. Again, that's a different story altogether. New York City Mayor de Blasio, He's trying to put through a standard for developers of multifamily units that would force them to have a 50-30-20 division. And let me explain that. That means that 50% of the residents will be at market value. 30% will be middle-income families, and 20% will be specifically for low-income families. So imagine having a luxury high-rise building, and you have to adhere to those standards. It wouldn't be so exclusive anymore, would it? And that's the issue here, because you have so many luxury residences going up, and you're pushing out people that can't afford to be there. So what the mayor's doing, and I get it, he's trying to keep these people, in the community, which is a noble cause. But at the end of the day, I think that there should be certain, and there are certain low-income housing, which is specifically dedicated to people that need to live, and whether it be the projects, whether it be a building that has affordable to low-income standards. They get subsidized by the state, which they do, or the city, and they're able to keep these people in homes. And that's what you need to do. And I think if the mayor wanted to do something, he should actually go and create job programs so people can actually get to work and bring businesses back to New York instead of taxing these businesses to death. You bring business back to New York, and if it's in Brooklyn, the Bronx, Queens, Manhattan, Staten Island, wherever it is, bring the businesses back, and it's going to bring the people back. You have people working, they're paying their rents, they're buying homes, they're paying their mortgages, and it actually helps. Okay. Now, I want to just touch on the Bronx again. I wouldn't sleep on the Bronx. And I think that the Bronx may be a shining star that no one has really figured out yet. But I have my thoughts on that. And again, I'm going to reserve those thoughts for my clients, even though I'd like to share them with you. I do hope that, listeners understand. But I do have my thoughts on it. It's interesting, because there are certain parts of the Bronx that may be in play or in a better play than others, but it all comes down to getting there first. Okay. Now, going back to the low-income deal, look, I understand the concept of people in the community not being priced out of the market. And again, and I said it before, there should be a better way to handle it, and I think that they need to do that. They need to find a better way to handle it and stop pushing people out of the community. You want to redevelop? Fine. You want to fix the community? Fine. You want to beautify? Beautiful. Okay, if people are not, on board with that live in the community, yeah, then they can be shipped or shifted somewhere else to go live. But I would think that if you're beautifying a community, the community should be involved in that beautification. And just unfortunately, some areas, and I'm a native New Yorker, so you have some areas of New York that have been beaten down, and basically, you look, 15, 20 years ago, certain areas are so beaten down that, people didn't care anymore. They throw their garbage in the street, their dogs, they go to the bathroom in the street, and they leave it there. They leave it there because that's what they want to do. And if you don't have any respect for the community or yourself, the end result is going to be, you're going to have, semi-chaos. So the cleaning up of New York is a good thing. I think that they need to figure out what to do with the lower income families. There has to be something that's, something that provides some type of balance. All right. Anyhow, in short, as you can see, there is still much opportunity in an area such as New York City. Commercial real estate is in play in many other cities, and I'm going to speak about this, not on this show today, but definitely in future shows. But you have to have the vision to see it. Cities like L.A. Okay, you have certain parts. In Florida, it's not just about Miami. You have other parts of Florida, which we are going to touch on, that do have the potential, because you're getting incentives from the state to do certain things. So that becomes very interesting. You have a development boom in Miami, but then that's cyclical anyway, because every 10 years they go through this cycle, and they may be at the top of the cycle. Don't know yet, but I would say on a commercial end, commercial properties and certain other developments over there, could be a good play. All right. So in any event, again, commercial real estate is in play, and you have to have that vision. Without that vision, and without getting there, you don't have to be the first one there, but try not to be the 100th one there. Try not to be the 50th one there. If you see something potentially happening in an area, don't wait for it to happen and then say, "Hey, I'm going to come in now." If you're a developer, you're an investor, you want to get there before everyone else jumps in, because once they jump in, guess what? You're the last man on the totem pole, and they've already probably made 30, 50, maybe even double their money in some cases. That's what I saw in certain parts of Brooklyn, downtown Brooklyn and Williamsburg, and even Long Island City. People bought the properties before anything happened, and they made a literal real estate killing. So you want to get there first, and it can pay off in spades. Now, with all that said, we have to take a quick break, and we're going to be right back on Money That Never Sleeps right after these messages.
This is Chef Gavin Murphy with your 1-minute healthy cooking tip. A lot of people are more health conscious nowadays, especially when it comes to food. But did you know there are a lot of hidden calories in, of all things, salad dressing? They're chock full of added sugars. But don't fret, I've got you covered. Try this quick and delicious salad dressing recipe. Grab a small Tupperware container with a lid and add a 1/4 cup of balsamic vinegar, 2 tablespoons of whole grain or Dijon mustard, a teaspoon of organic honey, pinch of salt and pepper, and 3/4 cup of olive oil. Pop the lid on and give it a good old shake. This is spot on for a beautiful summer salad and will keep in the fridge for weeks. For more healthy cooking tips and info, go to gavinmurphy.com.
Hi, my name is Peter May of London Central Properties, and we're based in Cavendish Square, which is close to Regent's Park. The majority of my work experience has been in sales, in particular the hotel and hospitality industry, both in the UK and overseas. London Central Properties is an established company with a global presence and a high reputation for service and discretion. We specialise in the sale of high-value, off-market apartments, houses, hotels and investments. We have recently opened a new division specialising in the provision of serviced apartments which cover the full spectrum from budget to exclusive. These apartments are suitable for both leisure and corporate clients and are located in the key areas of London, including Mayfair, Knightsbridge, Kensington and Bayswater. For further information, please refer to our website, which is www.londoncentralproperties.com. We have now established an exclusive partnership with the host of Money Never Sleeps, Mr. Louis Velazquez.
Hi everyone, John and Pete Nigerian here at the NASDAQ with some news you do not want to miss.
As option floor traders, CNBC contributors, and co-founders of OptionMonster.com, people always want to know our secrets for trading the options.
So we wrote an entire book on it. And today, to celebrate the book launch, we're giving away a limited number of these books for free. All you have to do is cover shipping and handling.
Learn how you can use options like we do to make more income with less capital.
To reduce your investment risks.
And to make money regardless of which way the market's moving.
It's all right here in this book, and today we're giving it away to you for free.
Equity options today are hailed as one of the most successful financial products to be introduced in modern times. You have to learn to profit from them.
This one book could dramatically increase your investment returns.
And today, it's free.
So pick up that phone and call now.
Call 1-800-961-1923 for your free book. That's 1-800-961-1923. Call now.
All right, welcome back to Money Never Sleeps, and we were talking about New York real estate, and that was the pretty much the whole part of our first segment, and I want to continue with that. I want to expand on that just a little bit more with some current events that have been taking place. It was just announced that Hilton Worldwide Holdings, the same family that the Hardee's eating burger girl and reality show mogul Paris Hilton, come on, you gotta love the entrepreneurship with her. Anyway, Hilton Worldwide said it would sell the landmark Waldorf Astoria in New York. They're going to sell that hotel to a Chinese company, Anbang Insurance, and that's a Chinese insurer. And it's interesting. They're selling this for $1.95 billion cash. Isn't that amazing? So now the Waldorf New York, Waldorf Astoria, New York, is the flagship hotel of the company's luxury brand, which is Waldorf Astoria Hotels and Resorts. And not that you needed to know that, but you know it already. I just wanted to add that in there. This is why this sale. I mean, I love the hotel business, because even if you sell, you're never out of the game. And this is how interesting it is, because not everyone can be a hotel entrepreneur. Not everyone can be a hotel management company. Not everyone can be a hotel developer. That's a specific talent. And in this deal, Hilton Worldwide, they sold it for $1.95 billion to Anbang. Now, Hilton will continue to manage the property of the Waldorf Astoria. They'll continue to be the manager, which is really interesting. And they're going to be doing this for the next 100 years as part of the deal. Now, come on. And what other industry can you go, have something, sell it, and then get paid to manage the deal? So they're able to cash out and still get paid to manage the hotel, as they're doing right now. So as opposed to them losing money, they're actually, it's pure profit for them after they get this 1.95 billion from Anbang. So that is a really, really smart move. And they're going to put the money to work elsewhere. They're going to make acquisitions, maybe not in New York, but maybe elsewhere globally. But that does open up their books to do a lot of different things. And that, again, that makes things just, a tad bit more interesting. Now, I want to talk about technology in the future. For the past few years, all that has spoken, people have been speaking about this, they've been speaking about the tech bubble. When is it going to burst? When's the pin going to go in? Is it a repeat of the last one? These companies are overvalued. They're valued wrong. They're not making any money. There are no profits. Blah, 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 blah. Enough already. Here's some reality. If you notice something, any major tech company that has grown from the abyss to becoming a household name was a startup at some point. They had no earnings. They were a startup. Nothing was going on. And they grew to a revenue production machine. And these are facts. So you have to have vision. Just the same thing with real estate. You have to have vision with technology companies. Not every technology company is worth their salt. But you do have a number of them, even the startups that are. And I don't care if you're talking about Google, Microsoft, Apple, Amazon, Facebook, or even Twitter. You know these names? You know these companies that were once startups that nobody believed in? When nobody believed in Steve Jobs, he was working out of his garage. Google, not too far. Amazon, Facebook, and Twitter. Even though with Twitter, they haven't hit their stride yet, but I added them to this because I believe that they're going to figure it out at some point. The point is, if you build it, they will come. If you build it, they will come. If there is a need for it, then it'll grow. If you monetize it properly, it will make money. Pretty simple to understand, right? Now listen to this. You know, the age of technology now is night and day from what it was 10 years ago, or even more. We are light years away from what we had in the late 1990s or early 2000s. And with these young minds coming out of the womb with ideas for the future, because now, you know, it's like a clean slate. It's like, wow, anything is possible. Anything is possible. So it's just making things move that much faster. Because if, you know, one thing can happen, maybe this can happen, or maybe that can happen. So people are thinking, and I love it because you have young minds at work. You know, they've created learning machines. Yeah, computers that self-learn. And if that's not scary enough, they've created artificial muscle and artificial skin using 3D printing technology. Now, you put that in line with robotics, I have no doubt that we're going to have iRobots or even Terminator-like type of situations soon enough. You know, for the lonely guy that needs a wife, he'll just make her, or vice versa. You know, so that should be interesting. I guess the movies can predict the future. You know, what do you think about that? I think it's possible. You know, look, they were making movies about going on the moon before we went on the moon. So if you can think it, if you can dream it, I guess it can happen. All right. But yeah, you know, technology is the future. And, you know, when you have so many different tech companies out there, whether they're looking at green technology or they're looking at other things like that, you do have a lot of companies out there that are doing some fantastic things. You just have to actually, you know, sift through all the nonsense and get to the bottom line. You know, when you're looking at tech companies, you have to look at what their possibilities may be to contribute to the future. Okay? Let me repeat that. You need to look at their possibilities that may be to contribute to the future. Facebook as a social media company is only stop one. Trust me on this. They will expand into different areas of tech as it's a natural progression, especially when you have visionaries at the helm. You know, look at Google, look at Amazon, look at Apple. You know, you see how things can happen, but you know, more geared towards the Google and the Amazons, because what they're doing right now is they're trying to be so innovative, and they're looking towards the future. Microsoft, you know, they were doing that. You know, I mean, shoot, they were creating the smart house and things of that nature before anyone knew about it. Bill Gates had that in his home, so the future is bright. So if you find that special company with that special team in place, and that's key, you got to have that team in place. The team that is committed to the growth and the future of the company in a real way beyond lining their pockets, then that may be your horse to bet on. When you have people that get involved in these companies and they're just looking at it for the buck, these are the people that will fail at it. They may initially do something, but at the end of the day, as investors, how do you win? How do you win if the founders of the company disappear and they cash out? That doesn't work. You know, if you look at Microsoft, you look at Google, Facebook, Amazon, you know, Apple, you know, when Steve Jobs was alive, you know, he was with the company till they were all with the company, and they are still with the company, except for Steve Jobs, even though he had the in and outs over the years when he was around. But if you look at the major tech companies, their founders are in place. Okay, so you have to find those type of companies. And what we plan on doing on Money Never Sleeps is we want to bring on some of these up-and-coming tech companies on the show, because we want to highlight what we see as being the future. You know, and they may not be public companies. They may be privately held companies. But if I see or we see that they have a good grasp on what's going to happen down the road, we want to bring it to you first so you can actually find out a little more about them. And who knows, maybe they're looking for investment. And, you know, if you're an accredited investor, maybe that'll be something that you'll do. Who knows? You know, feed the future. That's what I say. But anyway, now we just have to take a quick break. And we will be back on Money Never Sleeps right after these quick messages.
This is Chef Gavin Murphy with your 1-minute healthy cooking tip. For all my fellow fitness freaks out there, eating lean, high-protein meats like chicken, turkey, or even pork loin is part of our everyday diet. I get asked all the time, how do I make chicken breast juicy and not dry and overcooked? This is how. Season the breast with salt and pepper and sear in a drizzle of olive oil in a hot pan until golden on both sides. Preheat your oven to 400 degrees and place the breasts on a foiled oven tray. Pour 1 cup of chicken broth on the tray and pop it in the oven for 6 to 7 minutes. What's going to happen is the broth will create steam in the oven while the chicken is cooking and add moisture to the meat. And that's my secret. Also, very important, guys, once you take the chicken out of the oven, let it rest for 3 to 4 minutes, and this will also keep all the juices in the breast. For more tips and information on me, go to my site, gavinmurphy.com.
Hi, everyone. John and Pete Nigerian here at the NASDAQ with some news you do not want to miss.
As option floor traders, CNBC contributors, and co-founders of OptionMonster.com, people always want to know our secrets for trading the options.
So we wrote an entire book on it. And today, to celebrate the book launch, we're giving away a limited number of these books for free. All you have to do is cover shipping and handling.
Learn how you can use options like we do to make more income with less capital.
To reduce your investment risks.
And to make money regardless of which way the market's moving.
It's all right here in this book, and today we're giving it away to you for free.
Equity options today are hailed as one of the most successful financial products to be introduced in modern times. You have to learn to profit from them.
This one book could dramatically increase your investment returns.
And today, it's free.
So pick up that phone and call now.
Call 1-800-961-1923 for your free book. That's 1-800-961-1923. Call now.
All right, welcome back to Money Never Sleeps, the show where we touch on whatever impacts the flow of money from around the world, around the corner, or around anywhere. And last thing that I want to touch on is in the world of entertainment. Okay, there are a number of TV, film, and Broadway plays looking for funding. You know, they're looking for funding, and honestly, you don't know what the outcome may be unless you are in line with someone with a solid history in the arena. You have a lot of, independent film producers that are, they're trying to get their project off the ground. Some are really good, some are not so good. Some people are not actual filmmakers, but they have, a couple of bucks and they want to make a film to say, hey, I made a film. All right, but you do have some quality people out there that maybe they don't have the lineage or the resume that some higher end directors, actually more so producers, have. And I believe that real producers, it doesn't matter whether you've been around for 50 years or you've been around for 5 years. I believe that real producers offer high caliber TV, film, and Broadway productions. And if they are worth their salt, they have a plan of action in line for their investors. They're not just wondering or trying to figure out how can I pay for the film and, forget about the investors. You have to keep the investors in mind. And there are a handful of these productions that are seeking investments from qualified individuals. I don't want to make mention of any of them on the show, but for qualified investors, if you're looking to invest in an entertainment project, a TV project, film, or Broadway show that is of high quality, high caliber, and it's not going to take a hefty investment on your end, I can make the introduction. Just connect with me via ucwmagazine.com or via any of my social media networks to find out more. And the only reason that I mention this, because I know of these projects, and I believe that they will do well. But then again, if you're going to reach out and connect with them, you'll have to make an informed decision. So you always have to do your due diligence. And I want to thank you for tuning in and listening to the show. I hope that you're getting some value out of Money Never Sleeps, and that's what we try to do here: educate a little bit, educate our audience somewhat, And we're always on the hunt to bring on guests that can bring value to you, our loyal listeners. And that's what it's about. So now, beyond following me on Twitter to read my rants, mentions, and replies, I always try to support good people on social media, and that's what you'll notice. I try to do that, whether it's an athlete, whether it's an entrepreneur, business, so on and so forth. I try to do that because I think, I think more people should know about it. So you can follow me on Twitter, and I would recommend that you follow these awesome people who actually have valuable insight that they share with their followers. And that would be from guys like Pete Nigerian on CNBC. He's at Pete Nigerian. And from the world of business, you got at Lynn Tilton, self-made billionaire. You have the CEO of the real estate firm Douglas Elliman. You have at Dottie Herman, another entrepreneur that built up in such an amazing way. And also from CNBC, you have John Fort, and that's Fort that's John, Jon Fortt. And he is one of the anchors of Squawk Alley. So you want to check out Squawk Alley, at Squawk Alley as well, from CNBC. And they cover everything tech, and it's really, it's informative. And lastly for this week, from the world of sports and fitness, bodybuilding Hall of Famer Mike O'Hearn. He posts a lot of inspirational, notes and comments where you can follow. And probably the most popular kicker in the NFL today is Steve Weatherford, and that's at Weatherford5, and he's on the New York Giants. And he does so many great things out there. I'm proud to know him. And again, all these people that I mentioned, they do post informative information on their social media, and also they you can find out more about them. You may want to follow them and keep on top of what they're doing, because you never know where you can get your next bit of inspiration or information from. And remember, you can listen to Money Never Sleeps on iTunes, Stitcher, and a host of other distribution networks globally. You can just go online and find out more about that. And again, I want to thank you for tuning in. And the next show, we're going to be touching on private equity and startups, and we may talk about some up and coming films. Maybe we'll have an up-and-coming producer on the show to just talk about the independent film scene, because that's really hot now, from Toronto, Tribeca, and so on and so forth. And this is where you're getting these Oscar nominees, and it's really, really interesting. And so we're going to have, now you have a lot of startups coming in line for 2015, not 2005. Ooh, that would have been a time warp. 2015, and we want to bring on these startups, as I mentioned earlier on in the show, and some of these companies may be public, some may not, but I just want to share that with you guys so you can see what's going on, not only in technology, but other startups. It could be fashion, it could be this, it could be whatever we feel is going to be a booming arena for that company. And they just, they want a platform to present to the world, and we're trying to provide that here on Money Never Sleeps. And that's about it. So until next time, the next episode, I want to wish everyone a great and profitable week. Thank you.
Initiating shutdown sequence.
You're listening to UCW Radio, in your face.
What is your major malfunction?
So let it be written. So let it be done.
Ladies and gentlemen, my mother thanks you. My father thanks you, my sister thanks you, and I thank you.